Let's talk about names. What if I told you there's this epic, 2,000-year-old story? A story of empires, saints, and even the founders of the internet, all hidden inside one single name. Well, today, we're unpacking the incredible journey of the name Sergius.
You've heard these names everywhere, right? Sergei Rachmaninoff, the composer, Sergio Aguayo, the soccer star, Serge Gainsbourg, the artist. They sound different, they come from totally different places, but what if they're all just branches growing from the exact same tree?
Well, spoiler alert, they totally are. Every single one of those names, and a ton more, are all part of one big, ancient family. So let's trace that family tree all the way back to its single, powerful root.
Okay, so to find the source, we've got to travel way, way back. And yeah, you guessed it, we're starting in ancient Rome. And I'm not just talking about the empire. We're going even further back, to the time of the Roman Republic. Now here's the part that's going to blow your mind. Back then, Sergius wasn't a first name like we think of it today. It was a genus, a family name for the Sergia clan. You got to think of them like the Starks of Winterfell or the Capulets of Verona. They were one of the original 100 patrician families said to have founded Rome itself. This name had some serious weight to it.
And when I say the roots go deep, I mean deep. Historians actually think it might be even older than Rome itself, maybe coming from the ancient Etruscan people. By the time of the late Republic, you see it being carried by these really powerful figures, like the infamous politician Lucius Sergius Catilina.
So, it's ancient, it's noble, it was worn by the founders of one of the world's greatest empires. It's got to mean something awesome, right? Like great leader or strong warrior. Well, here's the wild part. We have no idea. The original meaning is a complete mystery, totally lost to time.
Of course, historians have a couple of solid hunches. One theory connects it to another old name, Servius. Another, and this is my favorite, suggests it comes from an ancient Latin root that means to preserve or to keep safe, so it might have meant something like protector or guardian. Now hold on to that thought because that idea is going to become really important in just a minute.
So for centuries, Sergius was just this Roman family name. How on earth did it become a first name used all over the world? Well, the answer is a single person, one guy who would completely flip the script on the name's destiny. Okay, so here's how it went down. Around the year 303, a Roman soldier named Sergius was executed for his Christian faith. He becomes Saint Sergius, and his story just takes off. He becomes a hugely popular saint, and as Christianity spread like wildfire, so did his name. People started naming our kids Sergius to honor him, and it even became a go-to name for top church officials, including 4 popes. That's what really launched it into the stratosphere.
And as the name started to travel, it did what all words do. It changed. When it moved from the Latin-speaking West to the Greek-speaking East, Sergius became Sergios or Sergios. This was its first big makeover, and it was about to set the stage for a massive split.
And this is where our story splits right in two. It's like a fork in the road for the name Sergius, and its journey in the East would be completely different from its fate in the West.
Check this out. In the East, the name just explodes. It was a favorite in the Byzantine Empire, became a staple in Slavic lands like Kievan Rus, and eventually turned into names like Sergei and Sergei. But in the West, it was the total opposite story. After Rome fell, the name just faded away. For hundreds of years during the Middle Ages, it became super rare.
Just to give you an idea of how massive this was in the East, think about this. By the 1980s, Sergei wasn't just popular, it was the second most popular boy's name in all of Russia. Second. That is an absolutely incredible legacy for an old Roman family name.
Okay, so if the name basically vanished in the West, why are there so many Sergios and Serges walking around today? How did it make such a huge comeback? Well, that is the final and maybe the coolest part of this whole story.
The answer, in one word, books. Yep, literature. In the 1800s, Western Europe got totally obsessed with Russian novels. And then those books by authors like Tolstoy and Dostoevsky, they kept meeting all these characters named Sergei. Through French translations, the name was reintroduced to the West, and this time, it stuck. It sounded sophisticated, a little exotic, and it started to spread all over again.
And that brings us right up to today, where that family tree we talked about has grown these incredible, diverse branches all over the planet. This one Roman name has morphed into dozens of forms around the world.
So in Italy and Spain, it bounces back to its Latin roots and becomes the smooth-sounding Sergio.
Over in France, thanks to those literary translations, it gets that chic, classic vibe as Serge.
It follows that Eastern Orthodox path all the way to Armenia, where it transforms into Sarkis.
And in Ukraine, it stays close to its Slavic heritage, becoming the powerful name Sergei.
When you step back and look at the whole journey, it's just staggering. This one name went from a Roman clan to a Christian saint, from popes and patriarchs to legendary composers like Rachmaninoff, game-changing artists like Diaghilev, and all the way to the people who built our modern world, like Google's own Sergey Brin.
From a single patrician family in ancient Rome to literally every corner of the modern world, the journey of Sergius is just a perfect example of how history, faith, and culture can all get packed into a word we use every day. And it really makes you stop and think, doesn't it? What incredible story is hiding in your name?